Hi there, welcome to my second critique, this time for an article related to physical resources management with the title The Perceptions and Experiences of School Management Teams and Teachers of Management of Physical Resources in Public Schools. Questionnaires were administered to the management teams and the teachers for us to understand the following. First, what structures and processes were necessary to manage physical assets and educational resources effectively and efficiently? Are there structures and processes that they follow? And are they able to follow this religiously and effectively? Next is how does the state fund schools for the procurement of assets and educational resources? There are assets that are needed to achieve the educational goals. But with the known problem regarding the lack of fundings in public schools, how do the state fund these materials? Based on this study, the state lacks systematic procedures and stringent processes in the management of physical resources. And this results to wasteful expenditures. They're not able to use properly and to maintain the physical resources that they have procured. Also, it was found out that the state lacks the necessary financial skills for the budgeting and procurement of the physical resources. So, in this regard, what do we do as school managers to address these conditions? First is we need to set appropriate structures and processes in the management of physical resources. Next is we need to identify what are the educational resources needs in order to make sure that we are purchasing the needed and the appropriate materials. Another, we school managers are trying to identify other sources of funding and conceiving budget plans for physical resources. And as emphasized by Stein in 2003 and Beckman in 2006, which is still relevant to the conditions of public schools nowadays, is to find reputable suppliers and service providers who will help us to achieve these goals. So, what we can conclude from this study is effective management of resources is now becoming a high priority for public schools because the teaching and learning processes are also affected and the performance of the students are also associated with effective management of these physical resources. What we recommend for all the teachers and all our listeners of this critique is we need to understand the processes of budgeting, how we budget the finances that we have. Do we have stringent and systematic processes in the acquiring of physical resources, in the selection of the most appropriate materials for the school? We also need to establish and understand the process of storing and utilizing, maintaining, controlling, and monitoring the productive use of these materials to avoid any wastage or wasteful expenditures. In line with this, we have to develop or formulate a policy for asset management. This will become mandatory for all schools, and this will be our second recommendation because this will serve as our strategy in order to fulfill all the recommendations in bullet number one. And lastly, who will implement or monitor the implementation of these processes and the policy. That will be our third recommendation, wherein a fully functional asset management committee. And this committee shall be composed of personnel and officials who are not just knowledgeable but experienced in physical resources management, and this shall be established in all public schools. The following are our references. The third one is the article that has been critiqued in this video. Once again, thank you so much to all and have a great day.